Well, of course, you always look for a synthesis of the different elements that are in yourself and in music. So flexibility is what you should be able to achieve to be able to play from Bach until the modern composers. So you should be really able to switch yourself into different states of mind and different ways of playing to produce the right sound for the right music, for the music that you're playing. So that is our task as musicians, is to be flexible, not just saying this is me, and so you recognize you're doing everything in the same way, or playing, striking the keys in the same way because it's you. It should be the composer first, and then it's you who are trying to understand, like a detective. You are looking at the score and looking and finding hints and say, this, he writes this, and the bass line is going like that. That means that the top point is there. I mean, it's always a process of discover.
Yeah, but there's something special about you in this sense, that you can be the solo performer. At the same time, you can work closely together in chamber music with others. You're like an animal who that can change color all the time.
Yeah, well...
you don't see that very often.
Well, I don't know. I try to do the things that I like, and that, I mean, I put myself into it totally in it. So if you are alone, of course, you have to take things on a certain perspective, and if you are with others, you have more to adapt and to do things together. And I think it's a lot of fun doing that.
Well, would you be satisfied to be only the solo performer? You know, the big name that comes in and says, we have to play it this way because I play it this way.
Yeah, no, I wouldn't like that. And I don't think nowadays this really happens. I mean,
it still happens, you know that.
It can happen, but I mean, usually it's always a process of giving and taking.
I was wondering, the fact that you're half Italian and partly Finnish, would that have to do anything with this double?
Yeah, I actually find a lot of contradictions in myself. So I suppose I have a certain spirit, a Mediterranean spirit, but also sometimes distinct, I mean, northern feeling. So it's, you know, it's a combination, and that's why you should be flexible. If I have it in my blood, I mean, I should do it.
What is Finnish about you, for instance? Can you give me an example?
I don't like too much to express my most inner things, inner feelings. And also that's why maybe sometimes I didn't want to play Chopin, because I feel it's so direct. He's really speaking with his heart to the bottom of it. Yeah. And this is sometimes can be embarrassing.
And what is Italian about you?
Well, that I like also to have fun and to be with friends and to be open. I mean.
Yeah, so there's a sort of inner struggle between those.
Yeah, always. Yes.
Yeah. You are married. You are living in Rome. 2 young children, 2 daughters, as you said. What kind of influence does the fact that you have young children have on your work, on what you're doing?
Yeah, with young children you discover life again. You see through their eyes the novelty of things. Sometimes you tend to think as the world surrounding you as a given thing, so something that you can even be bored with. But in the eyes of the children, you see that they are discovering the things, and they see a color, and for them this color is the world. They can just be so absorbed. And this is, for instance, is interesting reading Aldous Huxley's The Doors of Perception, that with some substances you can develop, you can see things in a different way, whereas as adults we tend to categorize. So to see, okay, this is a chair, that's a glass, I'm a pianist. Yeah. But you should always decategorize and saying, I'm a series of possibilities. I mean, for practical things, of course, I know this is a chair, so I can sit on it. But you know, in truth, what is this chair? you're seeing it as a chair, but it's
Yeah,
a
let me
bunch
try.
of atoms. Are you sure it's a chair? I mean,
Yeah.
it's a bunch of atoms, and they are arranged in some way, and the wavelengths strike it so that you see it in some way, and there is a certain pattern, and your brain recognizes. But in fact, a very young child, he just sees this and he can look at it because he's hypnotized by it.
So
and this is in music, in vibration, is what is the best moment is when you are not thinking about something.
So
You're just absorbing it.
they reopen your eyes.
Oh yes, definitely. Oh, they're a big joy, and
A chair is not a chair,
yeah,
but is a chair.
yes. I mean, in fact, you have to, and also talking to them, and I mean, understanding how to put things to them. It's a work in progress always, because you have to say things in some ways to make them understood. It's not, you know, you have a certain friend of mine, and then you have to change it and to say, yes, but she cannot understand this. So I have to switch, and it teaches you. I mean, everything in life teaches you.
How young are you now at this very moment?
I'm 41.
Yeah, so you're at the cross point, you're halfway. On the one hand, you get children. On the other hand, you lose your parents. It's a sort of in-between kind of stadium. What does losing your parents do with you? Does it also have an influence on music?
Yeah, of course. As everything deep inside it has a big influence on the ways you're doing everything. So, of course, also in music.
And could you say something about that? You lost your mother at a young age, as far as I was informed.
Yeah, well, of course it was a tragic event for my family, and this gives you knowledge of what is missing. I mean, what is separation. And that's why you want, with music and with friends, with talking, you want to have this unity again. You want to have friendship and harmony.
How old were you when your mother
I was
passed?
13.
13.
Yeah.
What happened?
Well, she suddenly died of a brain stroke.
Yeah.
It was very sudden.
And were you already a starting musician at the time?
Yeah. I was already. It was just the time when I was thinking really to concentrate on music, and then I decided to go to conservatory, which was a bit far from my hometown, which was Rimini. And then I went to Pesaro. That involved taking the train and traveling, and so it was.
And did you change to another type of music when your mother died? Did you find yourself?
I don't think you realize these things at the spot. You just go on. You go on, and then maybe after 20 years, you realize what happened and what the influence of this could have had on you. But on the spot, it's, I wouldn't think I decided or I did something differently because of that consciously. I mean, you do everything unconsciously.
For a man of 42, wasn't it? 41?
41 and 42 at the end of the year.
You already lost quite some people, your parents, but also a brother. How do you experience that?
Yeah, as I said, I mean, loss is something you have to, I wish in life you would experience that later, maybe, because it takes out of you certain freedom of mind and certain virginity in seeing things.
Yeah.
So, of course, it's something that makes you develop in one way or the other. So it's very important, tragic, and, you cannot avoid it.
I once interviewed a Dutch chef de cuisine called Paul Vagel. And his brother was murdered a year before we did the interview. And he told me that when he was looking at his plates, when he was busy in the kitchen, that he started to use all kinds of black elements in his dishes. And he realized what was happening. Did you experience a thing like that?
No, I don't know. I like black.
You like black anyway?
I don't know if it's because of that or, well...
That's strange, that's funny.
Yeah.
What is so nice about black then?
Everything is in it. I mean, even the piano. The piano is black and the keyboard is white, so there is stark contrast. And in between, you can have all the shades. But black is like it has everything inside.
Yeah.
It's a synthesis.
What would you really like to happen in the next 40 years? I mean, you've come so far already at this age.
Well, to develop, of course, to understand things musically and humanly more and more. And I mean, as I say, it's always we have to go on. It's a work in progress, and hopefully we are on the right path. You know, also musically, sometimes you can try to find a path and then it's closed. So you have to find something else in really practical musical solutions or in way of playing. And so I hope that to be on the right path to develop myself, and that my surrounding can be helped by me.
And as a human being, are you satisfied when you look in the mirror?
You're never satisfied. You can say, then, well, sort of, I managed to get there, but to be really satisfied is very difficult. I mean, when you get to a certain point, you look backwards and you start thinking, well, some things I could have done differently, you know.
And what are you thinking of then?
Well,
what is the
there
lesson?
are so many things. I mean,
just
so
mention
many
one.
in music or in life or.
What is one lesson you learned? You really learned. You had to learn.
Yeah. Of course, to judge less. When you're very young, you kind of have your opinion immediately. It's very. Even it's like black or white, you know.
Black or white.
Yes. When you grow a bit, you learn the infinite shades, and that life is providing you with a lot different colors, and it's not either black or white.
No.
So there is a lot of in between, and that's what I thought I learned, and that's what everybody should actually think of when being in front of others. Think that always your life is made up of your habits mainly. And if somebody else has different habits, that's not a crime, that's not a difference, that's just his life, his way of life. So all these contradictions between religions or races, they have no, really from the starting point, they are, when you start with kindness and with relating to each other and listening and looking at the others, the only way is to understand and to relate yourself and to think. Because, you know, we are animals, so our reactions can be very sudden and very aggressive many times because we're scared. But our task as human beings and our brains allow us, our culture is to go forward and not being only animals.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.